It was morning. Deep inside the jungle, a young man with silver hair could be seen crouching near a river stream. His eyes full of excitement and malice, as he slowly pours out some unknown green liquid in the river stream. The man grinned and murmured, "Finally, I have been waiting for this day for a long time. The show will start soon." In another part of the forest, a young man with black hair was standing along with his spiritual beast. The man looked towards the mountains and spoke, "Is that Mount Qinglan?" He continued speaking, "Elder Shi, does my chance really lie with the Qinglan immortal sect?" At this moment the young man's ring vibrated, and from within that ring a voice was heard. "This old man's divine art could not be wrong. Your most important opportunity lies on that mountain." An old man's shadow emerged from the ring. The old man, while stroking his beard, said, "During the announcement of the Qinglan immortal sect's disciple opening ceremony you will find out." The young man was happy after hearing that. He then looked towards the river and smiled. As the water looked pure he thought of drinking it. As he heard his spiritual beast cry out, he quickly turned around and inquired, "Mink, what's going on?" At this moment he suddenly spotted a huge beast flying above them. This beast was called a griffon. The beast was roaring angrily. Thinking of that as a taunt the young man's spiritual beast, Mink could not control itself and flew towards that griffon. Out of nowhere, the anxious voice of a young girl pierced the air. "Kitten, come back." The girl found herself in a state of both fluster and confusion. She couldn't comprehend why her beast, which had been perfectly fine until now, suddenly threw a tantrum after drinking water from the river. This pink-haired girl is Lu Yingying. She is the fourth disciple of Shenluan Peak of the Qinglan immortal sect. At this moment someone grabbed her from behind. As this was too sudden she couldn't balance herself and fell down. The girl was shocked when she saw who it was. The silver-haired young man smiled in a lecherous way and said, "Little junior sister, you have finally fallen into my hands." The girl stuttered, "Senior brother." The girl was not this man's biological sister. In the Qinglan immortal sect, fellow disciples referred to each other as brothers and sisters. He joined the sect before her, so he was her senior brother, and she was his junior sister. The young man licked his lips and said, "Your spiritual beast had gone berserk because of me. In these deep mountains and forests, it is only you and me. Be obedient, and let senior brother take care of that good body of yours." At this moment the silver-haired man heard a shout as loud as thunder. "Get off the girl." Out of nowhere, a tremendous force struck the silver-haired man, sending him flying into the distance. Someone had arrived. It was the young man with black hair along with his pet mink. The young man smiled and looked towards Lu Yingying. He spoke in a reassuring voice, "Don't be afraid, because I'm here." The girl looked at her spiritual beast, which was now on the ground. At this action, the man spoke once again, "Don't worry, my spiritual pet has already tamed it for you. It won't go berserk again." The black-haired man shifted his gaze toward the silver-haired individual, unsheathing his sword, and with a voice brimming with rage he yelled, in broad daylight, "How dare you humiliate this junior sister? You are really disgusting." The old man also spoke inside the young man's mind, "This kid's morals are truly despicable. He doesn't deserve pity." With a fiery glare, the silver-haired man shot to his feet and roared, "What sort of impudent brat are you to taint my mood like this? Do you even grasp my identity? I am the eldest disciple of Shenluan Peak in the Qinglan immortal sect. If you want to save your life, kneel and beg for forgiveness." The black-haired man remained unfazed and retorted, "I'm Ye Chen, and I couldn't care less about who you are." The silver-haired man was taken aback and spoke, "Aren't you the eldest son of King Baikuan from Great Zhou Dynasty?" Ye Chen smirked and nodded. The silver-haired man, unable to contain himself any longer, erupted into mocking laughter. He taunted, "A stray dog seeking shelter in the Qinglan immortal sect, is that what you've become?" He continued, "If you kneel down and lick my shoes, maybe I'll let you go and accept you as a disciple of the outer sect to sweep the floor." These words ignited Ye Chen's fury, and he lost all self-restraint. He unsheathed his sword and charged at the silver-haired youth. But the silver-haired youth stood there without moving. He even had a smile on his face. He thought, that's right, you have to stab me here, just like the novel's plot. Actually, this silver-haired youth was not from this world. In his previous life, he was called Lin Xiao. He was an ordinary student, and his only hobby was reading novels online. When he was reading an ancient novel called Emperor Zun, he strangely fell into a coma. When he finally woke up, he realized he had switched worlds, and he had entered the world of the novel, Emperor Zun. He was inside the body of an infamous villain, who also had the same name Lin Xiao, and was the eldest disciple of Shenluan Peak in the Qinglan Immortal Sect. Soon he also discovered that he possessed a system, known as the Xinu Villain System. The system told him that as long as he completed the role of Lin Xiao, according to the plot of the novel, he would be able to ascend to the immortals in one step, and by successfully doing so, he would be able to travel through countless worlds. Once he gains this ability, it would also mean that he could return to Earth and reunite with his family. Of course, Lin Xiao would not die now. The plot here was that when the male protagonist Ye Chen saves Lu Yingyan from being humiliated by her senior disciple brother Lin Xiao, by stabbing Lin Xiao on the shoulder, Ye Chen becomes a hero in Lu Yingyan's eyes, and she instantly falls in love with him. And because of that, Lin Xiao, the villain, would hate Ye Chen. After Ye Chen joined the Qinglan Immortal Sect, as a disgusting evil person, senior disciple Lin Xiao would cause trouble for Ye Chen everywhere, and Lin Xiao would be beaten up by Ye Chen again and again, and his reputation would be ruined. Finally, he would kill himself in despair. That would be the day he, Lin Xiao, would complete the system's task and become an immortal. So he just had to follow the plot and act as a trash villain. Lin Xiao closes his eyes with a happy smile. But something strange happened. The pink-hair girl, Lu Yingyan, kicked Ye Chen. Lin Xiao opened his eyes as he heard a crash sound. The moment he opened his eyes, they nearly came out of his sockets. He was so shocked that he couldn't even comprehend what happened. Lu Yingyan asked with a worry, "Senior brother, are you all right?" Suddenly, her way to speech became more coquettish as she grabbed Lin Xiao's arm and spoke. "This is all because of that ugly monster, which interfered with our intimate activities. So, where are we going to do? Well, do you want to continue?" Lin Xiao started sweating. He still couldn't understand how the actual plot became messed up. In this scene, this girl would have fallen head over heels for Ye Chen, and she would be disgusted with me. But the opposite was happening now. He shouted in his mind, "System, system, get out faster. This girl's personality is broken." The girl's expression became serious. She then said, "However, the most urgent task is to kill those two who got in our way." Lin Xiao stuttered and asked, "Could you repeat what you just said?" The girl's expression immediately became gentle as she said, "That stinking man dared to touch my senior brother. Of course, junior sister would kill him." Lin Xiao shouted in his mind, "Broken, broken. The protagonist's harem wants to kill the protagonist itself. The plot is messed up." Lin Xiao hurriedly stopped Lu Yingyan and said, "Let them go." The beast mink carried the now unconscious Ye Chen. The old man, which was only visible to the protagonist, Ye Chen, murmured, "Strange, this old man's divine art had never been wrong. Maybe something big had happened, something really big." Lin Xiao crouched down in shock. He mumbled, "This is crazy, system, system. This is an emergency. Come and explain why Lu Yingyan, one of the female heroines, spoiled the plot." At this moment, the system screen appeared, displaying a message indicating that it was currently undergoing an update and to get in touch later. Lin Xiao could only curse in frustration. Suddenly, Lin Xiao could feel a shadow behind him. The moment he saw who it was, he was shocked. His junior sister, with a face full of smiles, said gently, "Senior brother, let's continue." Lin Xiao's soul almost left his body. He quickly made up some cheap excuse and ran from there. As he fled, he couldn't help but lament, "After preparing all my villainous lines for this scene, the plot deviated. If I had stayed any longer, who knows how much more the plot would be broken. I didn't even get any answers from the system." Watching her senior brother vanish in the distance, Lu Yingying's cheerful expression shifted to one of seriousness. She pondered, my pet losing control, senior brother's sudden appearance, and then Ye Chen's unexpected arrival. All these events took place today. This can only mean one thing. Those memories are indeed real. After a while, Lin Xiao lay there in a pool of blood, and in front of him stood his master and 3 junior sisters. All of a sudden Lin Xiao woke up. Turns out it was just a strange dream. With a bitter smile, he thought, how could that be my end? My death was already arranged by the author long ago. He then sums up his part in the novel. My name is Lin Xiao, and I transferred to a harem novel by Long Naoshan called Emperor's Son. My identity is the eldest disciple of the Qinglan Peak in the Qinglan Immortal Sect. I have 3 junior sisters and a beautiful master as well. My 3 beautiful junior sisters and master were all lackeys of the main character in the novel. Unfortunately, the hero of this novel is not me. The hero's name is Ye Chen, chosen son of heaven. I am just a scum third-rate villain who is cruel, lazy, crazy, and only know how to cause troubles. My job is to taunt the main character Ye Chen continuously after he joined the sect, and the result was as expected. Each time I would get slapped and beaten. At the end, I was humiliated and killed. But all of this is not the point. The point is that I have a system. As long as I restore the villain Lin Xiao's character design and complete the character plot, I can ascend to the immortals and return to my own world. Yesterday, according to the plot of the novel, I have done all things, namely walking towards the river, poisoning the river, making the spiritual beasts of 4th junior sister run wild. I also took the opportunity to molest her, but at the critical moment, the protagonist Ye Chen saved her. Now from here the plot deviated. Junior sister kicked Ye Chen unconscious. I don't understand. I am definitely acting according to the plot of the novel. Then why is 4th junior sister suddenly beating up the male lead? At this moment the system screen light up. Seeing this, Lin Xiao quickly asks, why is all this happening? Please tell me. But once again the system screen was blank. Lin Xiao could only curse in response. At that moment, a cheerful voice called from outside Lin Xiao's room. Senior brother, today is the day to report to the master. You should get up early. The voice belonged to Ye Chen, who attended to his daily needs. In the novel, she suffered an unfortunate fate as a mere cannon fodder due to her association with the story's villain, that is me. After a while, once Lin Xiao had finished getting ready, the cheerful girl couldn't help but admire his handsome looks. She then gave him his sword in a respectful manner and bid him farewell. Lin Xiao got up in a lift-like structure which was used to travel from one mountain peak to another. Even though Lin Xiao looked calm outside, inside his mind a storm was brewing, as he was still thinking why 4th sister's character design was damaged. Now he had to prevent other female character designs from being damaged too. At that moment, a mocking voice pierced the air. As the sect's eldest disciple, you can't even master flying with a sword. It's an embarrassment to our sect. Guo Yorong, the 2nd disciple of Qinglan Peak, added, even beginners can handle sword flight. Senior brother, shouldn't you be striving to improve? It's a pity to squander the sect's resources on a cable car lift. Lu Yingying, the 4th disciple, chimed in with a mischievous tone. You could have used that money to buy food for my little cat. The 3rd disciple, Shu Yaowei, also joined the conversation, suggesting, or perhaps invest in a new loot with those funds. Listening to those remarks, tears welled up in Lin Xiao's eyes, but they were tears of joy. The characters of his other 2 junior sisters were the same as in the novel, and now, even the 4th junior sister's character was back to normal. With everything set right, it was time for him to commence his villainous performance. Lin Xiao smirked and spoke in a cool way. The sect's finances are under the management of senior disciples, and so I could spend as much as I please. But if you are willing to come to this brother's room at night, maybe I could allocate more money for your cultivation. The 2nd disciple stormed past Lin Xiao, her anger palpable as she muttered, You've grown arrogant from exploiting the master's kindness all these years. Just wait until the master emerges from her seclusion. You'll be in deep trouble." Even though this was the greeting a villain gets every day, he still felt a little bitter. After a while, all the disciples were paying respect in front of a cave. "This place is the Valley of 10,000 Flowers." Lin Xiao tried to speak, but his second junior sister cut him off. She went on to detail the events of the past 3 years during their master's seclusion, taking a sarcastic tone when referring to Lin Xiao, portraying him as someone who only knew how to enjoy himself and neglected his cultivation. Afterward, she reported her own cultivation progress. This prompted the other disciples to follow suit, sharing their own advancements in their years of practice with their master. When Lin Xiao's turn comes, he just sugarcoats his words and tells that his cultivation is almost the same. The second disciple continued, "Master, the 5-year apprentice acceptance ceremony is fast approaching, and it's a matter of utmost importance. To revitalize the sect, you'll have to emerge from seclusion and choose a direct disciple. We've received a list of 281 candidates for Shenluan Peak, and among them, one candidate stands out, Ye Chen. He is the eldest son of Ye Qingshan, the king of Baikuan in the Great Zhou dynasty. His talent is so extraordinary that it once sent shockwaves through the entire Great Zhou continent, to the extent that even the empress feared his potential." At this moment Lin Xiao heard a notification and quickly checked. It turned out that his Xianian system had been updated. He then quickly asked, "System, you're finally back. Now tell me, what is the current plot status?" The system immediately replied, "The plot is going well. I hope you will continue to work hard." Seeing this, a smile formed on Lin Xiao's face. That meant what happened yesterday was just a small accident. He began thinking happily, the protagonist Ye Chen is going up the mountain, and this villain's date of death is coming soon. After completing these tasks, I can finally go home. Unknown to Lin Xiao, someone was observing him. It was his 4th junior sister. She appeared deep in thought, reflecting on a recent vision from her heaven memory. In this vision, a scene from the previous day played out differently. She saw herself expressing gratitude to Ye Chen for saving her from her despicable senior brother. Whereas, her senior brother, injured, was crawling and pleading her to stay away from the man Ye Chen. In the vision, she spoke to Lin Xiao in a cold and resolute voice, warning him to stay away from her and Ye Chen. Seeing all this, a sly smile crossed Ye Chen's face as he said slowly, "Lin Xiao, all your efforts were in vain." The vision continued, but the scene shifted dramatically. Now the girl found herself in tears as she asked the man known as Ye Chen whom he loved the most. The man wore a smirk and replied that he loved her, but also loved numerous other women who stood behind him. Once more, the scene transformed, and this time, chaos reigned. Destruction surrounded them, and it was the annihilation of the Qinglan immortal sect. Demons swarmed from all sides, mercilessly slaughtering the sect's disciples. It appeared they were searching for Ye Chen, but he was nowhere to be found. The girl knelt on the ground, utterly helpless, tears flowing from her eyes as she echoed a single question, "Brother Ye Chen, why did you deceive me?" Back to the present. The 4th disciple Lu Yingying contemplated, 2 days ago, I had these unexplained fragments of memory. Then, yesterday, Ye Chen appeared just as the memory foretold. I have a feeling that this memory isn't just a glimpse of the future, but also a warning from the past. Her thoughts continued, why did I fall in love with that deceitful Ye Chen? Why did the Qinglan Sect have to endure such destruction? What role did my senior brother, whom I always considered despicable, play in all of this? With a determined expression she concluded, I need to conduct a thorough investigation. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are curious about how she came to know about the past, and who Ye Chen actually is, then comment down so I can make part 2.